I'm going to say. I think it's funny. You may not. You may go, hey, that ain't funny. I don't care. I don't care. Anyway. You see, this is Sir David the Bard, and I'm attending a funeral here in Wisconsin. An old friend of mine died, and they had a public viewing, and this guy's a character. This guy was a real character. He's a good friend of mine. His name was Ben Dover, and Ben didn't think much of the Mormon Church, and he kind of mocked it. He wasn't mocking God. He was mocking a cult. Anyway, they had an open casket. I went in line and got in line to pay my respects. Old Ben Dover was naked in the casket. I couldn't figure out why all the girls were going, ah! I thought he was coming alive. Anyway, I wanted to do a video on temple clothing in the Mormon Church. Now, I've never done this, and I always assumed that everybody is a Mormon, and they know all these things, and then I realized I go to 208 countries in the world. I didn't know there were 208 countries. I thought there was like 198 or 93, but I got 208 on my my forehead. Anyway, thank you. You've been great to me. I've just gone over 700,000 views, and when I take a look at how long somebody watches a video, it's more than 15 or 20 seconds. All right, 23 seconds. Anyway, I don't want to be buried in my temple clothes. Now, it is the habit of the Mormon Church that if you've ever been in, or have been excommunicated or whatever, they try to bury you in temple clothes. Now, I don't know if this is when you die, you go into heaven and all the Mormons can wave at each other. Hey, they're a Mormon. Look at that. So, it's a very, very touchy subject. When people are resigned or excommunicated and their families are still active, those damn active families think, well, Uncle George or Ben Dover have to be buried in their temple clothes to show their real support of Joseph Smith. Well, I've never seen Ben Dover like that. He was quite a man. Anyway, I don't want to be buried in temple clothes, okay? I'll tell you, that's one of the main reasons I want to be cremated, is I don't want some joker putting on to me the Joker outfit and the circus clown clothes. I don't want that. Now, let me tell you, those of you that aren't Mormon, and those of you that are, that haven't been to the temple, here's what all this clothing is, okay? First of all, next to your skin, and Ben Dover didn't have any thing next to his skin, but the first thing are temple garments. Now, most of you know, you can look it up on the damn computer. It's a long t-shirt and lower long underwear looking stuff, and it has signs and symbols on the breast. There's the compass on the breast, and the what is it? There's a compass and the straight edge. I don't know, the pointy thing. Oh, excuse me. It wasn't the pointy thing on the garments. And then it has the belly button where you get health in the navel, marrow in the bone, strength. And then you have on the bottom section you have a knee marking, which means every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus really did exist. Anyway, that's what they think. Now, when you go to the temple, okay, you have to put on in the temple ceremony, at different points you put on different clothes. When you go into the first room, you look like Ben Dover. They've fixed this a little bit. Back in the old days, when we did what we called washings and anointings, that's a little bit of a separate ceremony before the endowment. And we had the poncho. And I hated the Mexicans ever since we had the poncho. It was a sheet with no arms and open on both sides. And so you could look down the line there and see all the boys just a-dangling I wish that I'd seen all the girls, but anyway, they've changed that a little bit so the dangling is less. So anyway, if you go to the washing and anointings, then you go in there pretty much naked, except you have on the modified poncho. Well, there, the old girl or the old guy, whichever one is doing you, they put oil on your head, oil on your eyes, oil on your navel, who knows. I just bend over and put oil there. I don't know. They put your, or help you put your garment on. Okay, garment. Okay, so you get the garment on. Now you're running around in the locker room with these damn garments on, and yeah, you look like shit, but anyway, everyone else does too, so you don't think about it. So then you put on white shoes, white socks, white pants, a white shirt, and a white tie. That makes you white and delightsome right there. I don't care what color you are. So you're dressed pretty much humanistic, except you're all white. So now you go into the temple room, the first, the creation room, I guess they call it, and you have this packet with you. It's a pillowcase. It's a little pillowcase. And inside there, there's some special fun things. So you're starting to go through the ceremony, and as you go through each step of the ceremony, you take something out of the packet, okay? Now, the first thing, oh, I remember, the first thing, they're talking about Adam and Eve, and so they say, go in your packet and find your green apron. So you go into the packet, and there's this little green apron, and it has a tie on it, and so you tie that in front of your genitalia. If it'll fit. It always fit me, but there's some guys it doesn't fit. You know, it kind of looks like a teepee on an Indian reservation. Anyway, you put on the tie, and the little apron's hanging on the wee-wee. So, now there's a lot of old people that go to the temple, and I never was one. I was a young person when I went to the temple, and I was always helping like the young people do, the old people, because they can't tie, they can't stand up straight. You prop them up. and now I'm one of them. So anyway, you do that. Okay, so now you have the apron on, and now they introduce you to supposedly the Aaronic priesthood. It could be erratic priesthood. I don't know, Aaronic priesthood. And so now they say, okay, go into your secret little cubby packet and pull out your robes. Well, now you're going into the packet, and hell, the packet now is going to be empty because there's nothing else in there. So you take out this white robe, and it looks like a toga. It looks like a toga, and it has kind of a ruffled shoulder on it, and then things that fall down off the shoulder, and then it has a tie at the bottom, at the waist, and you have this on, I think they start with the left shoulder for the Aaronic priesthood. So you put this thing on the left shoulder and you tie it. Now, the baker's hat is the cool part. The baker's hat you put on your head if you can get it to stay there, and it has a string that comes off the side. Well, the string then has to tie to the toga, which has a little hole in here for it, and so you tie the hat. Well, the hat has a bow on it. And they tell you, take the bow and put it over, let's see, it'd be your right ear, I guess, if you're Aaronic priesthood. All right, so you have this stupid-looking hat on, and you don't realize how stupid it looks until you look around the room, and all the people in the male section look just like you. Now, the females have pretty much the same thing, except they don't have a baker's hat. They have a veil. A veil that covers their face, and usually it's you know, got little holes in it so that you can kind of see them inside. And so they put the veil on, and they throw the veil back over their head, and you can see their face. Well, they look over at the men's section and go, holy shit. If that ain't a circus act going into the three-ring circus in the next few minutes, we don't know what is. So anyway, you sit back down, and this is just an excuse to get up and down, because everyone goes to sleep. All the old people like me, they're just sound asleep. Anyway, Then they give you the signs and the tokens and the symbols. The first Aaronic priesthood, what has it a name? It has, will you give it to me? The son, and then the new name, and then the patriarchal grip, sure sign of the name. Anyway, you go through all that shit. Well, then about 20 minutes later, they go, now we're going to tell you about the Melchizedek priesthood. Stand up and change the robe. This is a bitch, because now you got to take the damn apron off. You've got to... Let's see, you have to take the apron off? Yeah. Yeah, you have to take the apron off because the apron has to be... I can't remember. Tell you the God's truth, I can't remember. And it don't matter because it's all silliness anyway. So now you stand up and you have to take the robe off. Now you have to put it on the other shoulder and turn the hat so the bobo is over the other ear and it's tied. Now, this is almost epileptic. That's the only word I can think of. It's epileptic. You're tangled in the clothes. The old people are laying on the ground. The young people are trying to pick them up. The women are trying to get the veil back over so they can see what the hell's going on in the room and laugh at the guys. So you have all of this paraphernalia on. And there's one more thing, the sash. You have a sash. And I think the apron goes over the sash when you're all dressed. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the apron is not underneath. It's on the outside. So you got to put the robe on, then you got to put the apron on, then you got to put the sash on. And the bobo on the sash is very important too. It has to go left or right depending upon the priesthood. So anyway, when I saw that and I thought about someone's going to bury me looking like that, Jesus, I'll be afraid to enter the pearly gates. The bard will be sitting outside in that clown uniform going, I'm embarrassed. I ain't going in there. So anyway, if you don't want to be buried in your temple clothes, get cremated, because your relatives who have hated you all these years for being anti-LDS and an apostate are going to punish you, dressing you. And I think that's why Ben Dover decided to go his direction. So anyway, I just wanted to touch base with you on the temple clothing. You'll see Mormons going to the temple, and they have a little suitcase with them. They look like little kids running away. Well, inside that suitcase is the packet. You can buy all the packet clothes, and of course the LDS Church makes money on that too. They make it, and then they sell it to you, and you can go in the temple and rent all of that stuff. If you give them whatever, $10, you can get the whole thing for the day, and you hear the cash register ringing in the temple. The first time I heard that, I was going to leave. I'm telling you the truth. I was 19 years old. First time I went to the temple, Manti Temple. When I heard the cash register ringing in a temple for rental clothes, I had just about had it. So anyway, don't bend over. Health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins, and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout eternity. Bard is gone.